A yelling and screaming NFL Week 6. Welcome back to Club 602's only NFL show. Exclusive content, Sean. How's it
That's
going, man?
right. Oh, it is going. It has been a fun morning. Last night was great. Got to meet up with some friends, and now today, back to talking football. It's what I love about my weekends, man. It's what I love about it.
We have a pretty stacked Week 6. Obviously, there's already been a Thursday night game. If you've caught us the last couple weeks, you know that I will go out of my way to let you know how horrible the London game is. It is currently halftime, and the Broncos are up 10-6. I can't anticipate we'll have a whole lot of highlights from this one, but you will get them as they roll in. That is my promise to you. Thursday night, Sean, let's get right into it. We had a pretty surprising outcome in the Eagles and Giants game. I know you're a little close to this one. Having family who are Eagles fans and generally
Mhm.
respecting the game. What in the hell happened Thursday night football?
Well, honestly, it's not surprising. It is definitely going to be an overreaction. Everybody's going to be talking about how they basically just the Eagles didn't look anything like they usually do. They look like a shell of themselves. The Giants came out and looked like this powerhouse on offense and on defense. But I definitely see that this is going to be a really big overreaction. Uh, a lot of times people don't realize how hard it is as a divisional team, divisional rival, to match up against a rookie quarterback or an unknown quarterback. And it's going to be a whole different scheme, whole different play style. And so this is a game that was 100% the game for the Giants to win, and for the Eagles to lose. And it just didn't. The Eagles did not look like themselves, and the Giants looked like the best version of themselves. So I'm not too. If I'm a Giants fan, I am super hyped for the future. If I'm an Eagles fan, I should be super nervous right now, but not too nervous, as we've seen this story before. Early in the season, you don't want to give too much to a divisional game, but the Eagles did not look good. Let's just say they didn't look good.
I've got two sets of notes here. One is labeled provoke Sean. The other one is labeled Giants good question mark. So I have a question, and I'll kind of
Shoot.
skate the line between the two. Is Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo a top 10 NFC combination rest of season, or is this a flash in the pan?
I'd like to see at least one or two more games to kind of get a feel for if this success is something that translates across different schemes. Again, it's when you're matching up against a team that you see twice a year, you guys are going to know each other pretty well. So the Giants had every chance to know exactly how the Eagles are going to play. The Eagles' offense isn't any different than it's been in the last few years. Obviously, with the addition of Saquon last year, but the Giants know how Saquon runs, so it's not like. As a matter of fact, it was like the perfect possible matchup for them. On the flip side to that, the Eagles seeing three potential games of Jackson Dart in a game two where there's five turnovers, you don't really know how he's going to play at all. My my overreaction is that Jackson Dart is just Bo Nix 2025. Like it's a guy who had it seriously. He's a guy who's come into an organization
So you're saying super
who
dart or bust, right? That's what we're saying.
super darter bus. Obviously, they both got the X in their name, so put some X's on them. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, he's a guy who has a lot of hype, a lot of energy, brings a different sense to that locker room. Russ is on the tail end of his career, so having that game against the
Man, he got
Cowboys where he
booed off the field.
off the field. But having that game against the Cowboys where he threw for 1,000,000 yards and everybody's like, oh, well, maybe he's not hanging up the cleats. And then they bring in Jackson Dart for a couple of weird run plays and then go back to him and he still looks really good. But then after that, he's just gone. They're like, okay, that was that last flash in the pan. Whereas here, this is a guy who has really nothing to lose in this rookie season. And he's got the full energy and support of that locker room. Cam Scadaboo, coming from ASU, shout out, is a tough downhill runner. This guy is not going to let you tackle him once. He is Marshawn Lynch on that Giants offense. And for a team that had all of the pieces on defense without the offensive ability, having a quarterback who is going to give you 100% on the field and the locker room behind him, having a running back who's got full energy and like this guy just runs hard. He's exactly what they needed. This Giants team looks like nothing like we expected at the beginning of the season, and nothing that they expected. Obviously, with Tracy assuming that he was going to be the starter, and so now you're like, okay, this is really looking like it's going to be something successful for us if we can keep this up. So if you're a Giants fan, this was the best possible outcome you could have had. Great looking offense, defense looking strong against a powerhouse team in the NFC, against a division rival. Like this was the epitome of wins for you if you're Jackson Dart early in your career.
And they're doing it without a top 5 wide receiver.
And they are.
They're doing it without their best player.
Neighbors out. I mean, come on. But this is when you play 11-man football. This is what I love about the NFL today is, especially with these rookie quarterbacks, these young quarterbacks, they're not afraid to move down the field. They're not just going to sit in the pocket for 12 years. The NFL, in my opinion, there's that old school sturdy, the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, the guys who most of the time are going to be just good pocket passers, very solid at making the reads. And then there's going to be the guys who are going to make things happen with their legs. And Dart seems like he's that kind of guy, especially early in his career. Let's see if that continues. But if I'm the Giants, I'm definitely hopeful. They absolutely out-schemed the Eagles. The Eagles' offense looks stagnant. It looks lazy. It's basically just hand it off to Saquon, and then hopefully we can move the ball on third down. And you don't have the same offensive line.
You really need to look into the box score and know what you're looking for to understand what happened in this game. Obviously, the score, right? I mean, the Giants won, but if you're looking at this game, I would assume they sold out to stop Saquon Barkley. Barkley averaged 5 yards a carry. They didn't really stop him. You know, they flexed their defense a little bit to take away some of those intermediate passing opportunities that the Eagles have feasted on. And the only place you can really see what happened in this game is on third down conversions. Eagles go 1 for 9 on third down. They get taken off the field, and they have to punt for the overwhelming majority of their drives. They get in close. They push for touchdowns. I mean, it's what they do. But what I've been screaming about the tush push for 3 years is that, like, don't let them get to the goal line. And that's really where the Giants succeeded here. They were able to stop the Eagles and not give them 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. They were holding them to 3rd and 5, 4th and punt. That's how you beat this Eagles team. They look broken. They look disjointed. The stats at the end of the day are there. And I know that the Eagles players don't really care about the stats. They're trying to win another ring. You know, but like this is Hurts' best game of the year from a passing standpoint, 283 yards passing because they were down, because he was having to throw, but they had the ball 14 times. He did almost nothing through the air in any meaningful way. The numbers are there, the stats are there, but what I'm afraid of for the Eagles is that the Giants have given this blueprint where you flex the middle of your secondary and you just don't give up 8 yards. Give up 5 yards on first down to Saquon and then just like stand pat and make a quarterback throw the damn ball. It worked. I mean, the Giants made a defending Super Bowl champion, the class of the NFC, look silly. This game really wasn't as close as 34-17.
It happened
Eagles
twice in a row.
Didn't score at all in the second half.
2 weeks in a row. This is a 2-week in a row thing too. So it's not like this is a one-off anomaly. I think the Eagles seriously have an issue with play calling. I think that they're still relying on last year's offensive successes, and teams have obviously gotten better on the line so they can challenge some of those. They also don't, what I said earlier, they do not have the same offensive line. When your center is pulling out to be able to lead block for your running back, that's a crazy move right there that you are not going to have happening anymore with Cam Jurgens. I'm sorry, he's good, but he's not Jason Kelce. And then on top of that, any other offensive line injuries, Lane Johnson, who is obviously a stud in the NFL, as an offensive lineman. When you lose guys like that, when you don't have two of the best offensive linemen to play the game of football, you have to adjust. And what I'm seeing is, even though Saquon may have averaged 5 yards, a couple of those rushes were garbage time runs, or they were runs where he got 18 yards, but then the next 3 plays, he ran for 2 to 3 yards. And so, yeah, he might have averaged 5 yards a carry. But what's the significance of that? If you get an 18-yard rush and then your next drive, you go rush for 1 yard, rush for negative yards, cool. You got 20 yards in 3 plays, but you still have to punt the ball. And so I think that's the issue that they had, is that their scheming right now on offense just isn't what it was. Offense is not clicking. And when it was clicking, what I noticed is that Jalen Hurts started to telegraph. They had this one drive where they're down by 10, and you're like, okay, they can still score. They're such a good team that they just got to get it together. They haven't been able to put two halves together where they played good football. And in this instance, they had one drive that looked like it was going to be successful. But I watched Jalen Hurts throw the same pass over and over and over again. So the Giants corner said, wait a minute, we really know what to do here. Why would just jump the route? And what happens? You get an interception that comes back. And so you can't be that gullible, that readable as an offense. Like, realistically, that should have been a fake fake out and bring it in, because he's going to bite on that hard. He threw the same play over and over and over again. Bite on it, beat him to the inside. I mean, Jalen overthrew a touchdown pass that should have. They beat the secondary over top completely. Like, it's not hitting the way it has in previous years. And you can't rely on last year's scheme, last year's success, the year before that. Every year is a new year. Every week is a new week. And their offense really needs to get it together if we want to see some success in the rest of the season.
And it might not be fair. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's a phenomenal athlete. But the knock on Jalen Hurts coming out of college is a low football IQ. He was never asked to do much for any of the college teams he played for. I don't know that is a fair assessment of his game, but that was the concern coming out of college. The thing that separated him from true elite level quarterbacks, supposedly, was his football IQ. And without a master tactician calling the shots there, the Eagles offense looks very different this year. And that doesn't all sit in Jalen Hurts' lap, but some of it has to. You are the quarterback of this team, and making bad decisions with the ball, telegraphing routes, overthrowing open receivers is not things that Super Bowl champion quarterbacks do. So there's a duality there for me where he's done nothing but win and look great. And we are now approaching a new situation for the Eagles that they have not had to navigate before.
I know. I'm going to definitely put a lot of heat on the play calling as well. Jalen Hurts plays. Jalen Hurts, for whatever comments about him coming out of college, was a top 5 Heisman quarterback for Oklahoma, which is a passing school. So you can't. I mean, and they weren't playing in a poor division. They didn't have poor teams that they were playing against. So I would give them a little bit of credit there. Obviously, Alabama is a lot different scheme, playing with an incredible defense over there, but still had success. Goes to Oklahoma, becomes a true quarterback under the Lincoln Riley system. We've seen a lot of success out of those guys in the NFL in recent years. But I will say this: it doesn't matter what happens if you can't hit your receiver. It doesn't matter what happens if your O-line, if you only got a few seconds in the backfield with your O-line. And my big thing is, here we're seeing the lack of success from the Eagles is definitely coming from this play call. The fact that everyone's been talking about how A.J. Brown's been underutilized this season. I'm looking at a team right now who's still relying on previous year's successes and not realizing that the NFL has absolutely changed to understand what your offense looks like. So you got to be different. You can't do the same thing for 3, 4, 5, 6 years and think it's going to keep working. The exact same thing with different players. No, it's not going to work. And so a Giants team with a very successful defensive line. Kayvon Thibodeau was in the backfield the whole time. You've got Burns. You got some really good guys on that D-line that just had enough of getting beat up the last couple of years. Saquon came out with a documentary. Like, I'm sure they're all butthurt about that. This was 100% a revenge game for them to say, hey, look, I know you've been beating up on us for years, but we're not going to take it anymore. So I felt really, really strongly for the Giants this game. They definitely brought their A game. If you're a Giants fan, congratulations, you now have enough to sail off into the sunset. Keep watching the rest of the season. Hope that your team is going to be one of the best team that comes out of this division. But if you're an Eagles fan, you need to be worried and you need to be yelling and screaming, saying, "Hey, call some more plays. I mean, we saw a tush push lineup that ended up being a sweep, and that caught everybody off guard. A couple weeks ago. Why are we not seeing more creativity like that? Why are we not seeing the same schemes, the same play design, the same play look, but with a different tail into it? We're seeing the same exact things as what we've seen before, and everyone's picking up on it. So they need to move on, and they need to do better at play calling, in my opinion. And second, and the special teams didn't help either. You can't fumble the ball 3 times on punts and kickoffs and pin your team deep. If you pin your team at the 5-yard line all game, then guess what? Defense are going to be eaten. They're coming after you. You can't do anything. You can't run your entire playbook. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that need to be corrected here in Philly.
Shout out to our friends at Phantom Odds. If you talk trash in your fantasy football league and you don't back it up in any way, shape, or form, you're part of the problem. Phantom Odds is going to let you take your fantasy lineup, convert it into the same betting odds that you use to lose money every single week to DraftKings, and they're going to help you lose it to your friends instead. Check out Phantom Odds, huge supporters of us here at Club 602, and get those tickets in. Post a ticket if you've got one, guys. I want to see some of your fantasy league bets. We got to move into our game of the week here, and we went a little against our normal rules. We took a primetime game because there is a big game on the schedule. Lions and Chiefs from Arrowhead, Sunday Night Football. Sean, this one has the opportunity to really define the first half of the season for either of these teams with a win or a loss. Lions, obviously, flying high, putting up lots of numbers, and the Chiefs not quite looking like the Chiefs that we expect them to. What do you have here for the Lions and the Chiefs? Do you think Mahomes can continue riding the ship?
I think they can. I think there's some injury problems, obviously, early on, losing Worthy, not having Rice. Like, there's just a flow that you get into when you've got your receivers together, when you've got your offense clicking on all cylinders. Their inconsistency in the run game. You got Pacheco. You got he's not looking the same. Your run game just doesn't look like you'd like it to look. And so there's definitely a flow that goes into it. This game means significantly more for the Chiefs, in my opinion, than the Lions. For the Lions, this will be a great win. It obviously keeps you being that top tier NFC team. For the Chiefs, though, this shows me exactly what they expected, is that they're moving in the right direction. Opening up the season, they obviously didn't expect to be 2-3 starting off the season. But realistically, you get some injured players back. You start to feel out your team and start to progress and play better. Your defense starts to settle into the season. You start to really get a character and sense of who your team is. And so for the Chiefs to go in 3-3 after week 6 would be definitely trending in the right direction. You'll start to see more people kind of putting a little more respect on their name. If they take an L here, it's like, all right, well, the Chiefs aren't going to be hitting this year. They're just not going to be that team. They might sneak into the playoffs, but realistically, their division isn't also the strongest either. So, not necessarily saying that they won't win their own division, but they're definitely not going to be a 1 or 2 seed in the AFC. So the Lions, this is a great game, a great potential win for them. For the Chiefs, they definitely need this to right the ship.
I think my concern with the Lions is that they've really lost to the only good team they played. Their defense looks a little shaky to me. Offense is no problem, right? I mean, we know what to expect from this Lions offense, but you're not going to win many games giving up 30 points a game. It's a very difficult thing to do. Ask the Bengals. It's really hard to have a defense that allows the Bears to put up 21 and the Ravens to put up 30 and the Bengals to put up 24. It's not what I want to see because eventually your offense slows down. Now, we haven't seen it, right? They gave up 21 points to the Bears. They scored 52. They scored 38 against the supposed Super Bowl contender in the Ravens. They put 37 on a Bengals team that does have a much improved defense this year. So I don't think the Chiefs defense is what's going to stop the Lions, but the Chiefs' offense is probably the second best offense they've seen this year, if everyone who's supposed to play plays.
Mm-hmm.
And I worry that at some point the Lions won't be able to put up 40 points in a game. And that kind of sucks to have to hang 40 to keep yourself in a game. They boat race like crazy. I mean, we saw this Lions team just score and score and score and score. And then that Bears game was close for a long time. And then all of a sudden they're getting blown completely out of the water. And it's like, what? It's like half a quarter went by and nothing changed from a scheme standpoint. It's just like all the breaks that weren't going their way went their way. And their offense is built to score 50 points a game. I mean, I'm worried that against an elite quarterback, I won't say elite level offense because the Chiefs have a lot of holes. They got a lot of issues, but against an elite level quarterback, you might be forced to score 40. And I just don't think that is sustainable. I had the Lions winning this game. I don't think the Chiefs are the ones to unseat them, but with a fairly tough schedule coming up, Bucks, Vikings, Commanders, Eagles, Giants, Packers, what I really, really want to see from this Lions team is the defense. I know you can win. I know you can put up points. I want to see in this game against one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, the secondary step up and make plays. The linebackers run Phil like they're supposed to. I want to see him get some pressure on Mahomes. And that's really more important to me than the score of this game. Obviously, a win for the Lions here goes a long way toward winning the NFC. But I want to see that growth, especially in the defensive secondary, because they have a really tough schedule coming up. And if they get exposed again, they are going to get shredded like 5 of the next 7 weeks. And I just don't know if the offense can score 40 points a week sustained for an entire season. That's very hard to do.
It is not easy to do. Obviously, their offense is built for it. But like the Bills, I think that there's a chance for them to continue to stay when it rains, it pours when they play. I mean, once they get clicking and they get going, the earlier it happens, obviously, the more points they get. But they have a chance, obviously, on any given drive it's just long pass, screen pass for 30 yards, long pass. Like when Goff gets it flowing and their scheme is working, they look great. They do play 4-quarter football, which is something that a lot of teams don't do, where they're not taking quarters off. They're not playing to maintain a lead. They're playing to score the same way the entire game. And that's what a lot of teams don't do. That's what happens when teams get behind in a game. They're playing without any rails, or they get really high up in the game and they start pumping the brakes and suddenly everything becomes their run game. The Lions are not a team like that, in my opinion. They play the exact same way all game long. And so that's their benefit here. The Chiefs defense, historically anyway, and I'll give it to them last year because their offense was not nearly as good as it's been in previous years. It's what kept them in games. And if that defense starts to click and that defense starts to put the clamps down on this Lions offense, what really comes down to is time of possession. If the Lions control the game, control the clock, and don't give the Chiefs enough time to really get themselves going, then they will absolutely put up great numbers, make the Chiefs defense stay out there forever. But if Patrick Mahomes can find a way to keep his offense on the field, get some long sustained drives, and disrupt any potential flows that the Detroit gets, obviously no issues with interceptions or fumbles, keep the turnover ratio on the positive for them, then it is definitely their game to win. And playing at Arrowhead is not an easy thing to do. Granted, it's going to be warm today, but playing at Arrowhead is not an easy thing to do. Detroit usually playing in a dome, so we'll see what the difference is there, if there's any changes. But I want to say, honestly, it's definitely going to be a time of possession game. Whoever wins that clock battle is going to be the team that takes the W here.
Well, and that's a nice dovetail for the most fun stat I found while I was doing my research for this game. Patrick Mahomes is the leading rusher for the Kansas City Chiefs this season. Mm-hmm. And when you're trying to grind out a time of possession game, your aging, non-running quarterback probably should not be your leading rusher. Obviously, the run game has not been a huge part of the Chiefs' success during these Super Bowl runs. It's a cast of characters that's mostly interchangeable. it can't be Mahomes. It cannot be Mahomes. So getting meaningful carries in this game for the running backs, whoever they use, it really doesn't matter. They're all pretty much the same guy, but you need 80 to 120 yards rushing to control the clock. And if Patrick Mahomes continues to be the leading rusher for this Chiefs team, there's no way in hell that you have 80 yards rushing. It's just, it can't happen. So that'll be something I'm looking for early is, can the Chiefs establish the line of scrimmage and get anyone going in the run game, because they are still hurt in the receiving core, and you have to have that pacing because this Lions defense can get sticky on the back half, and these wide receivers just aren't it. So you have to be able to run underneath. This line is 2.5. I think that's probably about right. I don't want anything to do with it. Obviously the over is a tasty one, but Vegas has accounted for it. This is sitting 52.5. That's a lot of points in the NFL game. But if you told me that the Lions scored 40, it wouldn't shock me.
I'm going to say right now too, the Chiefs right now, their only guy out on offense that makes any impact is Rice. Everybody else is in. And if you told me that you had Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, two pretty bruisey runners in your backfield, and Patrick Mahomes is your leading rusher, I'm going to tell you that something's going wrong. Something's going terribly wrong. Having all your receivers healthy, minus Rice, obviously, but everybody else on there, I mean, Hollywood Brown is still solid. You've got Travis Kelce, who's got it. He's really got to pick it up. I'm really looking to see more from him this week. I think you need to start adjusting your play calls and your schemes and getting these guys to where you maybe a couple play actions and then get the run game incorporated. They really need to get back to that. Mahomes, for a quarterback who realistically is an excellent pocket passer, is still very much a guy who, when he needs to move the ball with his feet, he's going to do it. And so him being the leading rusher on their team, looking at how their team has been schemed and how they haven't been able to have as much success with the wide receivers being injured or out, has been something that I was very, very confused about. But honestly, it's not something that you can't expect. And so at the end of the day, when you have to hold the ball for so long as the quarterback looking for a receiver, eventually you got to start moving. That pocket's going to collapse and you got to get your ass on the go. So if they can control that line and give him some time to make good reads, or they can shore up these receivers a little bit and maybe have a little bit of some nice run, some nice schemes, some nice runs, some nice play actions. Just get the defense moving to where you have some space for him to be able to make some good passes. He's got to hit his receivers. If he hits his receivers, then you can keep the ball moving on the field, and that's what you need: sustained drives. The Chiefs are not going to be a team that's going to score in bunches. They're not going to be a team that's going to score quickly. They're going to be a team that's more methodical in the way that they play. So I'm expecting that if the Lions score 40, I wouldn't absolutely expect it. If the Chiefs score 40 and the Lions score 41, I also could expect that. So this should be a fun game to watch. Make sure you guys tune in for this Sunday Night Football game. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I just don't know. If the Chiefs lose this game, Sean, I am not sure they're going to be able to shake it off. This might be a defining moment for this season.
Look at the division. I can't give that to you. Look at the division.
And that's where I'm going back to, right? Is they're still the best team, right? Because the Chargers have absolutely shit the bed, and they're probably going to lose to the friggin' Dolphins today. So, yeah. Like really, a 2-4 Chiefs team is right in the thick of things, because that would make the Chargers 3-3 if they lose today. The Broncos are going to beat. Oh, there was a field goal in this shitty England game. It is now 10-9 Broncos. The Broncos are going to win. They'll be 4-2. Are you telling me that a Chiefs team that's 2 games behind the Broncos is out of it? I can't say that. So it's like
me either.
But it's the same thing I've been talking. I said I wouldn't talk about the Ravens, and I'm going to do it anyway. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, nothing else matters for the regular season. And I'm wondering if the Chiefs are the same, right? Like, the Chiefs are going to sneak into a wild card, and then it's a new season. And it's a whole different approach. And it's like, okay, if this team is not going to show us something new, if they're not going to improve on the offensive line, the defensive line, or at running back, and it doesn't matter which wide receivers are playing, the season doesn't matter. And it's like, well, at some point here, why? Like the Ravens are going to be in the playoffs. They lose to every good team they play. They blow out all the shitty teams. Mm-hmm. It's pointless. The whole season is pointless. And it's like, I look at the Chiefs, I look at their schedule. They're going to be at worst 9-8 and maybe win the division at 9-8. Mm-hmm. They'll be in the wild card because like the AFC sucks. So do we have to watch? Does it matter if they get blown out by the Lions? And it's like, I'm trying to like cling to things that me, the football fan, growing up and loving football, like every game matters and you grind them all out. And it's like
the one caveat here.
Some of these teams, it just doesn't matter.
The one caveat here is that in the last 7 years, the Chiefs have had the number 1 seed pretty much every year or the 2 seed. So they're pretty much playing at home in the playoffs forever, right? The beauty of this chance here to dethrone them in the AFC is that if they shit the bed during the regular season, they got to play on the road every game. So if you're the Bills, you're like, let's go.
No, I think that's worse. Are you ready for that narrative? If Mahomes, as the last team to limp into the playoffs, they go on the road, they go into battle-tested Pittsburgh, and they go to Buffalo, and they win those games and win another Super Bowl, we'll never hear the end of it with this guy. He's already the second best quarterback of all time, no argument. If he does that shit, it's like Brady who, man? Like it becomes.
I think that's the goal. I'm pretty sure that's the goal. But is it a bad narrative though? Like is that a bad take? I mean, I know honestly, if you can limp into the playoffs and then beat the shit out and then beat everybody at home and make it to the Super Bowl, and then make it to the Super Bowl, if not potentially win the Super Bowl, then who does that say about you as a quarterback? It's that saying that you deserve the legacy that you're being handed. The keys are now yours to the kingdom. You earned them. I mean, I've never been a Tom Brady fan. I always said that Tom Brady was a scheme quarterback playing in New England. And then he goes somewhere else and he wins the Super Bowl. Now, granted, he basically just brought half the same crew with him. But basically, he brought half the crew with him. And he also threw for 5,000 yards as a quarterback there. So, like, at that point, I had to let it go. I had to let go all of my hate and say, hey, look, this guy's a great quarterback. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is the winningest quarterback, the best quarterback to ever play football in the NFL. It's unfortunate that that's the case because he fucked up his family in doing it. But, at the end of the day, the man cares about football so much that he got a divorce. He said, well, I'll take these Super Bowl championship rings over that wedding ring, I guess. And so that's his life. That's what he cares about. And at the end of the day, if that's what Mahomes' legacy is going to be, a guy who no matter where you think he's going to be, no matter what happens, he's always a guy who's going to be there, perennial, AFC champion guy. Like, I'd take that quarterback 10 times out of 10. So if the Chiefs end up winning this game, they're right in the ship, they're moving forward, or if they lose this game and still somehow sneak into the playoffs and beat other teams on the road, like, I'm sorry, but I'm not blaming the refs. I'm not blaming the fields. I'm saying this man is great at what he does, which is win football games when it matters.
There's one Fields you can blame for bad football, and that is Justin Fields, who is atrocious. 7 for 12 passing for 34 yards. This game has 5 minutes left in the third quarter. I'm sorry if you got up early to watch another bad London game. This one stinks to high hell. All right, let's do our slate of games here. Pretty cool week of games. Not necessarily good games. There's a couple in here that feel fun. But I think on the whole, there is less talent versus talent than we've seen in the past few weeks. Niners and Bucks is an interesting one because of where these teams are. Tampa Bay, 3.5 point favorite. What do you have on this one? Does this one matter?
Oh, it absolutely does. This game for me was actually my game of the week number 2, because I feel so strongly that Brock Purdy fleeced the hell out of the Niners in that fat contract. I, as a Raiders fan, I was hoping that if we were going to get McDaniels, that we would be able to steal one of those quarterbacks from New England. I felt like if we could have taken a Zappy or a Mac Jones back when they were trying to figure out who was going to be their guy in New England, obviously none of them worked out there, and it's Drake May now. But I felt like one of those guys just needed to be in a different system, a different organization to be able to shine. I felt like that was an opportunity that was missed there. And to see an offense that has had a myriad of receiver rotations and not necessarily healthy on offense, and to see them still winning games, and to see Mac Jones just showing up and saying, "Hey, look, I'm a guy who nobody had any chance of starting this year." And then you get Purdy goes out, he comes in, and apparently they wanted him anyway over Trey Lance, and they ended up getting him anyway. And he comes out and he's a stud. Then what's the conversation you have? Because I mean, you've got a very short history of what you got on Brock Purdy, so you need to keep that guy around for all the money that you paid him. You can't have your backup quarterback coming in and looking fucking Brady-esque out here. You can't have him working that well. But there has been this rhetoric that in that system out in San Fran, as long as you're a decent QB, you can shine. And so we're seeing that happen again. We're with injuries as well. So a healthy team out there for the Niners, they're back. Obviously, that's what they expected. That's what they were hoping for. Flip side, we love Baymay. We love Baymay. We love how strong he is as a leader on that offense. Obviously, injuries again, they become an issue. But this is going to be a tough matchup for these two teams. And playing in Tampa, it's going to be fun. It's going to be loud. I'm excited for this game. And I can see it being a pretty high-scoring game. I can see some nice rushing in this game if they get things going. So it'll be a fun game with two quarterbacks who really have something to continue to prove for this NFL.
Yeah, the Bucs are pretty beat up. And this 49ers team just keeps pushing, man. Next man up, and they get it done. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm excited for this one. It should be fun. Seahawks, Jaguars in a really interesting game that maybe wouldn't have been a couple weeks ago, but the Jaguars have started to turn it on. Seahawks 1.5 point road favorites. I think there's a chance the Jaguars win this game. Seahawks have still not established a consistent running game. There are too many mouths to feed, and eventually it's going to blow up on them. I don't know if it's this week, but I'm excited to see the Jaguars do their thing. They're jagging off, man. They're an interesting team to watch.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Kenneth Walker's the guy, and I think that they should just stick with him at the end of the day. But this Jags team is something special right now. I think this is definitely going to be their best season since Trevor Lawrence entered the chat. I mean, at the end of the day, they picked up the guy in Travis Hunter that's giving up the energy on offense and on defense. If he's not in the conversation, he's obviously in my conversation for a rookie of the year. If he's not in the conversation right now for a few other conversations, I'm talking. Look, we haven't seen this. We haven't seen this in the NFL. We're looking at offense and defense on a successful team. Now, you tell me if your number one receiver is also your number two cornerback on your team, and your team wins 11, 12 games, you don't think that puts you in that MVP conversation? I'm going to go ahead and say
182 receiving yards.
True.
Third behind Brenton Strange, who is hurt, and their wide receiver.
True. But this is early in the season. They've got more season to go. Yeah. They got to fill out the scheme.
He has 16 catches and 13 tackles. Even if you generously multiply those by 4 after 5 games, that's not even a Pro Bowler.
How many snaps is he playing on offense and on defense?
I don't know.
You don't know, do you? Yeah, that's
but that's the point. You're not going to have a part-time offensive player, a part-time defensive player that together doesn't play half the snaps and give him an MVP. It's not a thing.
Well, that's my overreaction, and I'm sticking to it. All right. I want to say that this man's impact on offense and on defense is felt even more than just the stats. All right. You see him blocking down there? You see him blocking for his teammates? You see the energy that's coming through in this team right now?
The energy I'm with you on, because this Jaguars team, nothing else has changed. And this Jaguars team has been shit for years. And now all of a sudden they're 4-1 and they're fun to watch. So I'm with you on the energy thing. Something has changed with this Jaguars team, and there's not much different other than Travis Hunter
because they draft so poorly.
But I don't know that I can, I guess I'll call myself an analyst. As a football fan, as an analyst, I can't look at the Jaguars and be like, yes, they are good because Travis Hunter. but I can't point to what it is. I can't point to what it is. They are 4-1 and they're putting up yards and they're winning games. I don't know that I have a better answer for you.
Well, I definitely think that the dual back system with Tootin and Etienne is better than that with Bigsby and Etienne was. So that's definitely a plus. And I mean, realistically, like Lawrence is just not making mistakes. If you're not throwing interceptions on a regular basis, you're not turning the ball over. Your team your offense, and you keep your drive sustained. Your offense moves down the field. I'm just seeing a fun Jaguars team that now I kind of want to watch play more regularly than I have in recent years. I've been one to shit on Trevor Lawrence and say he's the most overpaid quarterback in the NFL. He comes up this season, they win 10, 11, 12 games. They look like one of those top teams in the AFC. Suddenly it might be a different conversation. Suddenly that conversation of, well, he's just needed this one thing. We just needed this one thing. We just need this one thing. When really they needed a fucking Swiss Army knife in order to get that energy going on that team. Maybe that's where it's at. But honestly, I'm excited to watch these Jags play, and this is going to be a fun game because the Seahawks right now are looking like a pretty solid team coming out of that West, that NFC West. So it'll be fun to watch.
Well, and you look at the Jags, and really the only thing standing in their way is a Colts team with a quarterback no one wanted, right? So they obviously look good as well, but I mean, that's not a crazy roadblock by any means.
Not even close. Not even close, especially when they beat them in divisional games. That becomes your matchup right there, your divisional games.
Chargers, Dolphins. Man, I talked about it last week. I think I talked about it 2 weeks ago. What are the Chargers? What is this team? What are we looking at? It was supposed to be phenomenal. Obviously, they've dealt with some injuries, but
that's every team, man.
Every team's got injuries, right? Dude. 4.5-point road favorites on the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins to win this game. It looks like Tua's brain swelling has gone down, and he's seeing the field better. They are utilizing their run game appropriately. Shockingly, if you bring in a tight end who can run routes and go up and get a ball and pair him with a quarterback who's always running for his life, good things happen. I really like this Dolphins team. I think they're a lot of fun to watch. I don't think they're going to the playoffs. They're 1-4. I really think they could beat the Chargers this week, and I don't think it's crazy to think that they could blow them out.
I have a little bit different take on that. I'm not going to give the Dolphins this crazy analysis of them suddenly being this powerhouse potential team. You're right. They are 1-4, and they just took an L to the Panthers. Their only win of the season against the Jets, who are literally the worst team in New York behind the Giants. And both of those teams are the two worst teams in the NFL in the past 10 years. So I'm going to go ahead and reel us back a little bit. Let's reel that back. But I will say this. Today is the chance for the Chargers to put themselves back on the map, to right the ship, and to remind people that that's what they expect from them this season. If they take an L this game, we are watching Phillip Rivers Chargers all over again. Mediocre, padding the stats, putting up big numbers, and it not meaning shit. That's what the Chargers could come to be again this week. So if I'm the Chargers, I need a big win here in Miami. You're playing in good weather. You're playing in a game where you need to focus on who you're playing against and stop looking past opponents. I think that's where they might be. The Chargers got all this pedigree right now, and they're looking past opponents. And you can't do that in the NFL. Any given Sunday, I mean, they played against the Giants and the Commanders, and they put up a total of 28 points in both of those games. The Chargers have only scored over. They scored over 20 twice this season, and it was against the Broncos and the Chiefs. 2 wins there, but they scored over 20 twice. They beat the Raiders by scoring 20 points. So their offense isn't looking like it's as strong as it should. Obviously, beating the Chiefs in Week 1 made them seem so great, but that was a divisional game. Beating the Broncos by 3, that's a divisional game. If you beat playing against the Raiders and winning, that's a divisional game. If you only beat the teams you see twice a week or twice a year, then that's a 6-win team in the season. So, I mean, you're going to have to start showing people that you can win other games. And obviously win them in good fashion to strike the fear in your opponents. So if I'm the Chargers, you've got all the opportunity today here to put up some good numbers. You've got great wide receiver core. You've got a good running back over there in Hampton that looks like he's going to be solid. So, like, just put a good game together. Score 30 points for the love of God. Like, play good football. They haven't scored 30 points all season.
The Jets are up 11-10. If that
On a
sounds stupid to you,
On a safety. On a safety.
Holding in the end zone for a safety. So that's ongoing.
Bowl.
I don't know why we play games overseas. The LA Rams and the Ravens. Rams are massive favorites in this game, mostly because they're better, but also because the Ravens don't have their starting quarterback. I'm sure that is factored into this line. You have anything on this game? I'm not talking about the Ravens.
Ravens minus Lamar Jackson. Their whole team is built around his playmaking ability. Obviously, they have the skill set at the skills positions to be a phenomenal offensive team. Their defense is atrocious. And without Lamar Jackson, they are a bottom tier NFL team as far as how you can score and actually scheme. So maybe this week they pick it up. Maybe they figured out having another week of practice, how to get the ball into the hands of their guys to be able to make things happen on the field. But I'm not, if you've got anybody on the Ravens right now in your fantasy team, just go ahead and bench them. Probably won't be a great game here. But hey, who am I? I'm just the guy who drafted Lamar Jackson.
Cardinals Colts. This game is all the way to 8.5. Kyler's agent did not tell him the beta was ending. Kyler is not playing. I think he was anticipating playing a little more Call of Duty. Unfortunately, the beta has ended. Is there any chance the Cardinals are better without Kyler Murray than they are with him?
No, they're not better without him. I don't think they're not better. I don't think that they will be better without him. I think the problem with them is that they just don't have the discipline of an NFL team. They are the most talented college football team that I've seen in a while. They are a Chip Kelly Oregon offense missing all of the pieces that you need to be successful in the NFL. They've got a bunch of guys who can do really, really good things by themselves. And when you put them all together on a team, they do okay sometimes, and then other times they look like shit. How are you up 21 points, interception that you then fumble into the end zone? What is happening in Atlanta? What is happening here? The turnovers are just atrocious. And they again, I'll say it again, an AAU football team. They're an AAU football team playing in the NFL. That's what they'll be. They'll be guys who make a lot of money, but they're not going to do anything if they can't get it together and get the discipline that you need to be successful in the NFL.
We're obviously local out here, but neither one of us are Cardinals fan. Do you know who the backup quarterback is for the Cardinals?
No.
I'd look it up. It is Jacoby Brissett. So the whole thing just changed for me. Cardinals win this game outright. This is a revenge game.
Honestly,
Cardinals win this one, and the Jaguars take sole possession of first place in the AFC South.
I like that take. That's
Rick's parlay of the day. Cardinals, Jaguars.
I like it. Well, throw it in the trash bin, baby. Let's throw it in the trash bin.
Okay. This one, Cowboys, Panthers. I only have one note written down. It's the Spider-Man gif where all the Spider-Men are pointing at each other. This is it's the same team. The Cowboys and the Panthers are the same team. They're just at different points in their evolution. The Cowboys are the Panthers' final form. If the Panthers do everything right over the next 4 seasons, they become this Cowboys team. And that's sad. And I'm excited to watch this game just to see how that works. Obviously, no Hubbard really takes some of the luster off this Panthers team. But I also think that the Panthers are built to win or lose despite their best players. So I'm not sure it matters much from a scheme standpoint for them. I do think it changes how the Cowboys defense approaches the Panthers offense, because without a real running back, I guess it's a revenge game for Donald though too, right? I mean, he might be mad at the Cowboys for cutting him, but I just don't think the Panthers are going to be able to keep up with this Cowboys team. And the fact that this is only Dallas -3 tells me everything I need to know about what Vegas thinks about the Cowboys.
The Cowboys are the most inconsistent team in the NFL. They put up 40 points one week and then shit the bed the next week against a team that they shouldn't even be in the same category with. They are the laughingstock of the NFC every year with this high pedigree and all the money you want to sink into it. They're just a disorganized, disrespectful organization, and I would love to see the Panthers put up a 40 burger on them today with like half an offense. But we'll see. So we'll see what happens today. But I would love to see a revenge game from Dowdle. If you got him, start him, because he's going to run. He's going to be angry today.
This next one, Megan gave me a really fun stat for Browns and Steelers. The combined age of the starting quarterbacks in this game will be 81. That's old.
Ancient.
I don't see a scenario where the Browns win this game, which probably means the Browns win this game. I think this is the kind of game that if the Steelers are who they think they are, who they want to be, which is a playoff team, you find a way to win this game convincingly.
I think it's going to come down to...
I can see it. But I could also see the Browns just outright winning this game.
Honestly, I think that it's going to come down to the run game for both teams. It'll be how they control the clock. But at the end of the day, I'm excited because if this game is a win for Joe Flacco, he will be the first quarterback in NFL history to beat the same team twice in the same season. Oh no, actually, I think it's two teams twice and it's the same. The first quarterback in NFL history to beat two teams twice in the same season as the quarterback of a different team. It's like the most ridiculous stat. It's something crazy.
It just makes me tired thinking about it.
Yeah, this is the Grandpa Bowl. It's okay. Either one of these teams win doesn't mean very much for them. It means Aaron Rodgers just still has to try to keep his legacy alive, and still let people think that he's a great quarterback in the NFL. So he's probably going to play his heart out. Well, it depends on how well the run game is and how well that Steelers defense performs. Whoever's defense plays better and stops the run is the one that wins today.
Titans Raiders. I know you're the Raiders guy. What do they need to do against a really poor Titans team to convince you that this team is moving in the right direction and not the wrong direction?
They need to sack Cam Ward 1,000,000 times. Their secondary needs to play enough. They need to play. Their secondary needs to play well enough in order to keep Cam Ward in the backfield for our defensive line to get to him. Matt Crosby, if he can eat today, let's keep it going. But I just don't see enough from my Raiders team to see the progress that I was hoping for. Geno needs to have the best game that he's had as a Raider. He needs to secure the ball and stop giving up so many turnovers. He needs to put the ball where the receivers can get to it and not where he's used to receivers getting to it. He needs to be able to read the current receivers. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, the Raiders receivers aren't terrible. They're solid dudes. I've seen teams with much worse receiver cores. I just think that he's not used to playing with these guys. He's used to playing with much stronger receivers, and these guys are not that. And so he needs to put the ball in more open space for them or much better locations for them than he's used to putting up there where guys are going to fight for it better. And that's been my opinion of him for a couple of weeks now, and it's not going to change. No more turnovers. If he has a game where he controls the ball and keeps the ball out of the defense's hands, then he's got a chance to win here. They're playing at home, so I would love to see the energy from the black hole really, really propel this offense and get the defense really going. So I'm excited for it, but I need to see some progress on that from Geno.
Bengals Packers. This line's all the way to 14.5. The Packers are better than the Bengals. I don't like laying 15 points with anybody because this is also a Packers team that played to a draw against the Cowboys. Is there a way the Bengals can beat this Packers team.
Absolutely. If you make Jordan Love uncomfortable, give him fits and get the turnover game on your side, then you win this game. The Bengals still have, even without their quarterback, they still have some very, very talented players in that offense. And I'll tell you right now, if the Packers defense is stuck on the field for a long time, if they can control Micah Parsons and keep that offense on the field, keep the drive sustained, move the ball down the field, you've got all the chances to score. This Packers team is going to have to score early and force the Bengals into some very, very tough decisions where they're just kind of throwing the ball around the place and slinging it, because then that gives them the opportunity for their secondary to jump some routes and get some turnovers. But if the Bengals control the clock here, if they are able to have their defense impose their will and really keep Love from getting comfortable, then it's their game to win.
I totally forgot that Flacco's a Bengal.
That's what it is. That's the line. That's the line.
Totally
that's the line. That's the line. Yeah, because Dylan Gabriel's there for the Broncos, so that's the line.
Yeah,
Flacco's on the yeah. That's what the stat was. That's what it is.
See, guys, that's what you get from us is just honesty. You know, sometimes things happen and we don't remember them. It's called getting old. So, Patriots Saints is a game that means almost nothing to the Saints. I think that the Rattler experiment has failed. The season is lost.
No.
The Patriots will win this game going away.
I do expect the Patriots to win this game. However, I do not think that the Rattler experiment is over. I think
it's not over. It's dead.
I don't know, man. Games this year. I don't know, man. Hey, look, last week was finally a coming out party for him. He played against a Giants defense that just made the Eagles look like children, and he won. And it's not like the Patriots defense is any better than that Giants defense. And then after this, he's got a Bears team that is shaky. So say what you will, but if he wins 2 games in a row and he's 4-3, then people are looking at him a little bit differently. I mean, he's obviously got a tough schedule ahead of him. You know, you got Bucks, Rams after that, but then Falcons, Dolphins, not the hardest teams to beat. Bucks again, but then Panthers, Jets, Titans, Falcons. If you are the Saints, and obviously I'm not expecting anything from this team this year, but if you're the Saints, you are kind of potentially optimistic about, even if you take 2 L's from the Buccaneers and lose to the Rams, you have some pretty favorable matchups if you can get your offense rolling, as they did against that Giants team, and have your defense play really well. So, I mean, was the 5 turnovers? Get those turnovers. Win the turnover battle against a young Patriots team, and you can win this game. Obviously, playing at home too, that's nothing to sneeze at. So, if I'm them, I'm optimistic. Spencer Rattler is an Oklahoma quarterback, which means he got coached to be a good quarterback. Now, whether or not he's actually going to be good at playing quarterback is different than whether or not he got coached to be good.
This division for a long time until Brady went to Tampa Bay, all you needed to do was go 500 and you won the NFC South.
Sub 500 sometimes.
True. So I think the road is there, right? To your point, the road is there. I don't see the growth in his game that I was hoping for. I just feel like they're going to invest another pick on a mid-range quarterback and miss again. I mean, the Saints have kind of gone back to being little sisters of the poor. It's a small market. It's not big money. They did win a Super Bowl. That was almost 20 years ago now. Small market teams have to hit on your draft picks. If you miss on quarterback after quarterback after quarterback, you're the Browns.
Although they decided to pick up every quarterback possible, so
that's true. Somebody's got to be good, right?
Someone's got to be good.
Double Monday Night Football serving this week. The first one is the Bills and the Falcons. Sean, give me one way the Falcons can win this game.
The same way that they win any game. Bijan. That's it. That's all you need. If that man gets hot and that Bills defense has nothing to answer for it. If they stay on the field and Josh Allen is cold because this is a away game too. I mean, if they get turnovers, because Josh Allen has to play fast, then it's an opportunity for them to win. I mean, the Bills defense is not a good defense either. In my opinion, they're still one of the defenses in the NFL that is very much bolstered by how good their offense is and how quickly they can play and score. They are the Ravens 2. They're the Ravens 1.5. So until they are really the Ravens 1.5, they have an MVP quarterback, and their defense gives up way too many points. So, and they lose games that they shouldn't. The Bills have been known to lose games that they shouldn't. They should not lose this game. I mean, they've got all of the opportunity here and some solid receivers and a great quarterback and a great running back now to be able to have all the play clock in their favor. But any given Sunday, I mean, Falcons can put it together. Then I would love to see that from Penix this week.
It feels like one of those spots, doesn't it? Like this is a game.
I wouldn't take a bet on this.
Falcons win like 24-21 on like a last second field goal or something. It just kind of has that vibe to it.
I don't want to put any money on this game. It's not a game that I would bet on.
The other Monday night game is the Chicago Bears and the Washington football team. No Scary Terry, because every wide receiver that holds out deserves to have a shitty season. So they don't need him to beat the Bears. But this Bears team is improving week over week. They seem to be a cohesive unit. I think they could get the Commanders here, but if Bill gets running downhill and they can control the clock, the Commanders, at least for me on paper, are still the better team and have every opportunity to win this game. I think they'll have to give it away for the Bears to win, but I really like the direction the Bears are going. I like the way the team looks. They seem to be moving in the right direction. Tough division to be trying to find your feet in, but Rome looks great and the line looks better. I really like this Bears team.
Yeah, the injuries are definitely the hankering for the Commanders. Obviously, having all that success last year, definitely expected that to carry over. But I mean, they still have elite offensive linemen in Laramie Tunsil. They've got a solid tight end in Ertz. Jaden Daniels is back this week. So, the drop off there between him and Mariota obviously didn't seem like it was very much. And that's a good thing if you want your team to still feel cohesive and flowy. But he just gives you a little bit different look there, a little bit more consistency, accuracy in his passing, and just a smart player. And so for them to get him back is obviously a huge benefit. So if you are the Bears, your defense is going to have to control the line. You're going to have to keep Daniels back there, give him fits, and keep him from getting the ball to his receivers. Obviously, no Terry McLaurin, no Noah Brown, questionable Deebo Samuels. Like, what are you going to get this week? But Luke McCaffrey has looked solid. He has looked like he's going to pick up that mantle, and there's no drop off there. So keep feeding the ball. McNichols has been a guy who's actually shown me some really, really good play in that backfield. So I really think that, he's going to be a guy that gets leaned on a little bit more, as you see. And their defense is going to have to play good football. I mean, at the end of the day, the Bears are still not a team that I'm really accustomed to being very well-flowed team. They're going to have some challenges playing in this game on the road. But at the end of the day, if Caleb can get the ball to his receivers, it looks like he's getting more and more comfortable with getting the ball to his receivers, making smarter decisions with the ball. And the play calling have to be clean. No stupid play calls. Don't take extra risks unnecessarily. Just play a nice, clean game. I think they have the opportunity to absolutely win this game.
This horrible London game is still 11-10. Bo Nix is the leading rusher for the Broncos with 26 yards with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That should tell you everything you need to know about this game without having watched it. So, you got anything else for this week, Sean?
Nope. Everybody out there in Arizona, be safe driving. It's been raining like crazy for the last couple of days. Watch the floods. Same thing. I know there's some storms on the East Coast too, so everybody just watch out for yourselves. Weather's getting pretty nasty this week, so everybody just take care. Get to the game safe. Get to your Super Bowl party safe. Get to the bar safe, and enjoy yourself on a fun slate of football today.
Thanks again to our friends at Phantom Odds for hosting the stream here. Shout out to them. You can get the link in the bio. Check that out. That's a fun way to play fantasy football. That's all we've got, guys. Thanks for joining us. I think we have one more international game. I think next week, maybe
next week.
Week 8. I think it's week 8.
Yeah.
But hey, this is the new time slot. We will be with you every Sunday morning, taking you right up until inactives come in. So check your lineups. And as Sean said, be safe and have a good time. And we'll see you next week on Yelling and Screaming. Peace out, y'all.
Okay. Take care, y'all.